So let me introduce some terms here. First term I want to introduce is exposure. Now, if you notice in lenses, we basically can open the lens to be really small or much wider. By just having this kind of a change on how big I want the size of the aperture, which is the opening here, I can now vary a lot of different types of things. So now let's see what impact does aperture have on exposure. If we define aperture by capital H, basically what we're interested in is that exposure is equal to irradiance times the time that the exposure was open. We can simply write this equation down as H, where H is the exposure, irradiance we define by term E, and time by T. Basically, an exposure is irradiance on the sensor for the amount of time that it was hitting the sensor. That is basically the amount of light that's coming in and hitting the sensor for and how long defines exposure. So what is irradiance? So again, irradiance in essence is the amount of light, the measure of amount of light that falls on the unit area of a sensor per second, and it's denoted by capital E here. So the amount of light that will hit a sensor depends on the opening of the aperture. So in essence, it's controlled by the aperture size. Here, a small opening, a larger opening. Of course, larger opening will let a lot more amount of light per unit area of the sensor, and this, of course, will have a lot less light going through. And of course, exposure time is the timing that we allow the light to go through this opening or that opening. That is best designated by how long the shutter is kept open. So now we have looked at aperture, which is the opening, and shutter is basically how long we keep this open. That lets me get to the exposure that I'm interested in for an image.